Hi everybody and welcome to Safe Diving. So a couple things were discovered last week that affect our ocean, some good and some bad unfortunately. So the good news is that scientists have discovered a squidgy little sea creature that's actually helping out with climate change. So this little dude, described as like a white croissant by the LA Times, maybe they have different pastries out there in the States, but this little guy is a giant Larvacean or Bathocordeus and was first seen tens of years ago during a deep sea dive in a submersible by Bruce Robinson. Since then, Robinson has studied these guys and discovered that their mucus actually plays a large part in removing carbon dioxide from our atmosphere. In a new study published in the journal Nature, the team show how they scanned the squidgy boys left, right and centre and found that the croissant architecture that the scientists boringly named the house has multiple filters and fluted chambers all around that capture food particles and bring it into the center to be consumed. Now, whilst this may sound pretty boring, because they use mucus to kind of stick stuff and transport it inwards, and they can also filter through around 500 Olympic swimming pool size amounts of water every single hour, the mucus gets clogged up pretty quickly. So what they do is ditch it and it sinks down to the ocean depths. And this is mucus chock full of carbon-rich particles. Usually this debris just kind of sits in the ocean column, slowly sinking and eventually actually being eaten by animals, which therefore then bring it back up into the food chain. Because the mucus balls sink really quickly, it cuts out this kind of section so fish don't bring the stuff back up. Oh, and they also catch microplastics too. So these little guys are actively filtering our oceans of microplastics and carbon as well that would normally both be hurting our ecosystem. The bad news last week, however, is that despite seeing both World Environment Day and World Oceans Day last week, the current American president managed to slip through an order that opened up the Atlantic Northeast Canyons and Seamounts National Monument Marine Protected Area to commercial fishing and mining because of course, money, and also just because it was probably something that Obama did, so he had to do the exact opposite, it seems. So at the end of his second term, Obama declared that a huge area, 130 miles off the coast of Cape Cod, was to be a monument to protect the area from deep-sea fishing, mining, and drilling. The areas contain underwater mountains, gorges, and deep-water coral reefs that support all manner of marine life, and protecting these areas meant that they could be a refuge for marine life to recover. The deepest parts are actually beyond current fishing depths, but they foresaw that commercial fishing would eventually be able to reach these depths, so they managed to get this kind of provisions in there first. But, of course, the greedy people in charge at the moment only see what they can take and don't like the idea of being told that they can't do something. And from what I can find, this is the only time in American history when an administration has tried so hard to go backwards and rescind this type of monument. Plenty have created new areas and expanded them, but the current administration has been doing their very hardest to undo this one. Now, I can't say that I've heard any of this in the news though, to be honest. It was actually on one of my news alerts that I've set up on my computer that I actually found out about this. So whilst everybody was kind of distracted by the pandemic and the protests that are going on at the moment, they managed to kind of slip this one in without too much coverage or outrage. One man who was outraged at the political posturing was Bob Dreher, the Vice President of Conservation Programs at Defenders of Wildlife, who said in a statement, "Opening up the nation's only marine national monument in the Atlantic will help no one but a handful of fishers, whilst risking irreparable damage to the marine wildlife that have no other fully protected areas off our eastern seaboard." But of course, this isn't the only thing that they're trying to slip in under the radar. The administration are actually trying to boost their precious stock figures with new infrastructure projects that could ignore sections of the Endangered Species Act, the Environmental Policy Act, and as well the Clean Water Act. So at the moment, it feels like we're all in a pretty dark place at the moment, and I don't usually delve into politics and stuff on my channel. It doesn't really feel like it's my place to, but if we've learned anything from recent history, if enough people are passionate about something, then it doesn't matter what the billionaires in power think or even want. It's the next generation is actually thinking about their future, and we're about to see some changes. So, what do you guys think? Are we going to start seeing more and more changes due to protesting? Because online petitions don't really seem to be doing much anymore, and the people in charge just seem to be slipping things in unnoticed. Are we going to be seeing more and more environmental protests in the future to get some positive changes for once? Let's discuss in the comments below. Okay, so thank you very much for watching this video. On my channel, I upload videos every single week all about how to become a better scuba diver. Now, I've been working in and around the diving industry for a very long time now, and I have a lot of advice that I can help you out with. So if you need any help or advice with anything to do with scuba diving, just let me know in the comments below and subscribe to my channel, because I'll probably make a video all about it to help you out. So you can click here to check out one of my latest how-to videos to upgrade your equipment and your diving, and click here to check out one of my scuba diving advice videos. Thank you for watching, and of course, safe diving.